Do or do not. There is no try. I chose this quote for my April cover because this month is dedicated to the 80s. And it was back in 1980 that episode 5 of the Star Wars saga introduced a beloved character whose words would mark and continue to mark many generations, motivating them to act in the moment. Quite a fitting quote for a decade that was marked by defining events that continue to resonate. According to Britannica.com, in this decade, the Soviet Union began to collapse. AIDS emerged as a deadly pandemic and work began on a little thing called the Internet. The decade is also remembered for its contributions to pop culture, which included the debut of MTV. If I could paint the 80s, it would be an array of bright colors and geometrical shapes. And little did I know, but this aesthetic didn't happen by chance. It was thanks to the Memphis Group, an Italian design and architecture group that was active from 1980 to 1987. They designed postmodern furniture, fabrics, and many other objects characterized by an ephemeral design featuring colorful and abstract decoration, as well as asymmetrical shapes. Not the most functional at times, but they were so popular that they defined a whole decade's style. So that's why I chose to paint my cover house in bright colors and patterns, reminiscent of this retro style. As I was painting this with watercolors, I played music from the 80s, which was characterized by a blend of infectious melodies, synthesizers, and a diverse range of genres, including pop, new wave, and heavy metal. The decade saw the rise of iconic artists like Michael Jackson and Madonna, who pushed boundaries and shaped the pop music landscape. As I mentioned before, MTV played a significant role in popularizing music videos and creating new superstars. The art of the 1980s was characterized by a vibrant shift away from the minimalism of the 1970s, embracing a diverse range of styles and media. Neo-expressionism and neo-pop art gained prominence alongside the rise of street art. A huge example of this was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Being a powerful symbol of the Cold War and the division between East and West, graffiti became a way for individuals to express their feelings about this division, often featuring political messages, social commentary, and calls for freedom. But let's go back to 1980 and a different type of wall. Pink Floyd's 11th album, The Wall, achieved fame and enduring popularity due to its powerful storytelling, relatable themes, and groundbreaking musical and theatrical elements. It was also the time when Magic Johnson's exceptional basketball talent turned him into a dominant point guard in the NBA, leading the Lakers to 5 championships and becoming an All-Star 12 times. Speaking of entertainment, the unmatched Pac-Man video game was launched in Japan, becoming famous and iconic, so much so that everybody knows it and has surely played the game at least once. Another iconic thing was George Lucas' The Empire Strikes Back. Upon its initial release, it received a mixed reception from critics and audiences. Many were initially dissatisfied with the cliffhanger ending and the lack of closure. When The Return of the Jedi hit theaters in 1983, it was generally well received, with critics praising the actors' performances, John Williams' score, the special effects, and the action sequences. Even with all that success, I'm sure that George Lucas would have never imagined that Disney would buy the franchise from him and turn it into, well, what it is today. The 1980 Moscow Olympics were notable because they were the first to be staged in an Eastern Bloc country, as well as the first to be held in a self-proclaimed communist country until the 2008 Summer Olympics held in China. As 1980 was coming to an end, Christopher Reeve played Superman in the second of 4 movies. Having had his first portrayal of the superhero met with widespread praise and acclaim, he was established as the iconic figure of the character. Days after the Superman 2 movie released, the world of entertainment mourned the passing of famous British singer John Lennon. I will talk more about his story with the Beatles in my 60s video, but after their breakup, John became a controversial figure for his outspoken political views, relationships, and even because of his drawings. But beyond the Beatles, he was also a successful solo artist, a prolific songwriter, a peace activist, and a symbol of counterculture. We're now in 1981 when a sleek and futuristic sports car designed by John DeLorean was struggling to gain traction in the automotive industry. 4 years had to pass for it to be transformed into a cultural phenomenon through its role as a time machine in the beloved sci-fi comedy Back to the Future. The music world mourned the passing of Bob Marley, who was famous due to his pioneering role in popularizing reggae music globally and his powerful message of peace and unity. This year saw the rise of an iconic character with Steven Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Having had a huge success as Han Solo in Star Wars, Harrison Ford was cast as the adventurous Professor Indiana Jones, cementing his status as a major star. In another type of adventure, Nintendo published Donkey Kong, the villain in a game where Mario, known as Jumpman, had to rescue his girlfriend Pauline from the giant gorilla. And yes, this is how the story of Mario Bros. Began. And speaking of idealized relationships, in the summer of '81, millions witnessed a massive event, the marriage of Prince Charles and Lady Diana. Initially received with great fanfare and global excitement, ultimately it became a source of public scandal and heartbreak, followed by Diana's tragic death in 1997. On another topic, 1981 saw the birth of a unique television channel that would become a major influence in the lives of teenagers. MTV, or Music Television, aired on August in New York City. It was introduced to the world with the words "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll." Another highlight of 1981 was the birth of the first ever IBM DOS compatible PC, which became a widely influential standard in the personal computer market. Some famous cartoons at the time were The Smurfs and Sandy Bell, but Shirt Tales was one of my most favorite ever, and I had to paint all the little characters here on a spread of their own. Let's go to 1982. The cover by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts of I Love Rock and Roll was #1 on the US singles chart, making of this song an anthem for young ones all over the world. This year also saw the debut of Michael Jordan, who achieved fame through his exceptional basketball skills. His signature slam dunks led to his nickname Air Jordan. A celebrity that took advantage of a unique product was Jane Fonda, when she released the first ever workout video, which sparked the boom of women's exercise classes, opening the formerly male-dominated fitness industry to women. Another less famous maneuver was that of Larry Walters, who flew for 45 minutes using only balloons attached to a chair. He got tangled in electrical wires and was arrested, but at least it is said that he is part of the inspiration behind the movie Up. In the world of entertainment, an iconic film was E.T., and an iconic series was Knight Rider. The first ever commercial CD made its debut, with Claudia Rau's classical music made available on this innovative format. Goodbye background noise, hello high-definition sound. With the launch of commercial CDs, a much-needed CD player by Sony also made its grand entrance in the market in October of that year. And we'll close with 1983. The first collection of 12 Swatch models was introduced in March in Zurich, Switzerland. They were known for their low price, simple design, and use of plastic materials, making them an affordable and fashionable accessory. This year was notable for 2 African-American celebrities, with Michael Jackson's wowing the audiences with his moonwalk dance moves, and Vanessa Williams being the first woman of color to win Miss USA. As for entertainment, Mario Bros. Was first released in the summer in Japan. The game was so popular that it led to the creation of Super Mario Bros. In 1985. And who has not played that game? As for cartoons, the all-American hero G.I. Joe became famous among the boys, but overall shows like Charlie Brown and Snoopy, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and my personal favorite Garfield on the Town marked a whole generation, and they continue to be beloved characters by people of all ages and times. And to close the year, Christmas time was characterized by the frenzy-dubbed Cabbage Patch Fever, or Cabbage Patch Riots, with shoppers battling in a series of violent outbursts at several retail stores in the US for the limited dolls. And here's the final flip-through of April with the 80s as the theme. The rest of the decade will fill the next pages, so make sure to follow me on Instagram so that you can see more highlights. May is around the corner with the 70s, and I can't wait to tell you more as I go back in history through my journal pages. I love that you are loving this series, and I truly appreciate all the kind comments and support. And so as usual, thank you so much for watching.